You're wrong. Your research is wrong. Source, trust me, bro.
Yeah, haven't seen that in the comments. Not at all. Hey everybody, it's Friday. Welcome to yet another episode of SMG Viewers Comments. I'm kind of going off the deep end a little here because I'm doing a whole bunch of these so I can go do some travels in Asia. We've got that island event with Henning coming up, and I might be going to Japan as well. Hopefully we're going to get to go to the Ibanez factory. I'm really looking forward to that. Been a big fan of Japanese guitars as far back as I can remember. The Japanese build amazing stuff. And it's a country I've always wanted to visit. And, you know, by the time this episode airs, I might actually be in Japan. Or I might still be doing the Lord of the Flies thing with Henning and his gang there. Should be a lot of fun regardless. So yeah, I'm doing a bunch of these ahead of time, so you're wondering why I'm going on and on and on about pickups and stuff like that. These are the comments I've got at the time, and you know, there's so many good ones, I can't help but keep going. Anyway, let's cut the crap and get right to it, shall we?
Oh my god, that sounds amazing. You can hear the tone of differences. Damn straight. So your hearing is top notch. I'd like to think so. Okay, so what type of chord is this?
Yeah, that's usually how the conversation goes, doesn't it?
If only a select few can hear the difference between toned ones, then does it even matter?
No!
You have a lot of videos that is correct, however, most of them only show your side. Where's the data that proves you're wrong? That's important as part proves you correct. Really, I'm with you, but some of it just doesn't show anything but your side of things.
Well, if I'm wrong, I'm still waiting for people to make the tests that nullify my examples. And that's the thing, a lot of people will bitch, but it seems very few are actually willing to put in the work to do the tests to go ahead and prove me wrong. And that's the thing, all I can do is research something and see what happens. I mean, like, I've been wrong before. When we did the Sound is in the Hands video, one of the first tests we ever did on the show, I got 4 guitar players and I'm like, oh, I can't wait to hear these massive differences. And then it's like, oh, wow, they all kind of sound the same, don't they? So that's where the Sound is in the Hands got thrown right out the fucking window. It's great to be wrong. That's when we learn things. And you know, I was expecting to get massive shifts in tone when we did that video, and we did not get that. And that was the video that I was wrong with. And that video proved to me that when I'm wrong, I can be better informed about my assumptions as opposed to what I still need to learn. Being wrong in a science experiment is the best thing ever as far as I'm concerned. And the only thing that beats science is better science. Feel free to go ahead and conduct your own tests, please.
Glenn hated samples on drum recordings. Glenn found out the samples were used to enhance the drums on a Megadeth album when he was complimenting the drum sound. Glenn came up with a drum programmer that was designed to sound more natural than a lot of the numbers programming that he had heard people put on their recordings. Point being, if Glenn is proven wrong, he adapts to the change.
Well, yeah, that's the whole idea. That was the thing. I mean, I hated drum samples for the longest time. The album in question was Peace Sells, but Who's Buying, one of my absolute favorite records. I love the drum sound on that recording. And I was talking with Paul Lottie about that, about the making of that record. He said, yeah, he had some very rudimentary samples on it. I'm like, well, that just opens up some floodgates for me now, doesn't it? I can try doing other things. I don't have to be this, you know, zealot, anti-samples and whatnot. Turns out I like the sound of things when they're blended a little bit. Okay, fine. Learn something. Let's move on. Let's explore. Let's go do new things. That's how it should be, not, I can't hear you, I'm not listening, I hate something. No, I'm not going to do that because there's no fun in that. The fun is in learning new shit.
Hey Glenn, if tube amps are getting obsolete and simulations are getting you where you want to be that much quicker because you don't have to make up cabs, that clashes directly with your statement regarding real drums versus e-kits and or drum samples. Drum libraries are getting equally difficult to detect from the real thing, Superior Drummer 3, etc. Just saying. Sometimes you talk about that lost art of mastering equipment, not necessarily, but something along those lines, mostly about drums, I think. But if you start taking shortcuts with amps, just be a bit careful when you say what people are about using drum libraries.
Hey Dennis, where the hell have you been for the last 6 months? Dude, we put out Extinction Level event last summer. This was literally the most realistic drummer library we could put together. And we went to great lengths to make it as real as we possibly could. We've also got a major upgrade coming to it. It might even be out by now, but it's we're going to add like an extra tom and a whole bunch of extra features to it as well. I think you guys are going to really like what's coming out with it. Point being here is if you don't change your conclusions when new evidence is presented, that makes you a fanatic, not somebody who's objective. I was given objective evidence, so I changed my conclusion based on the evidence available. Try that sometime. Hey guys, just gonna break in here for a second real quick. Just want to give you a quick reminder that we've got all kinds of goodies up for grabs over at Spectre Digital and Spectre Academy. Like Henning Pauly's complete guide to drum programming, it is really quite amazing and very, very, very in-depth because that's how Henning likes to go. So if you want to get your program drums sound just a little bit more human, definitely check out his course. We've also got some cool plugins like the Cock Blocker plugin, which is great. It takes so much effort out of muting your metal guitars and your mixes. You can just set it up to sidechain and it works automatically. It is really great, and plus it says cock on it. Also, we've got Extinction Level event up for grabs. It's our very own drum library where we put a heavy emphasis on realistic sounding programmed drums. That's all up for grabs over at Spectre Digital and Spectre Academy. Links in the description below. Now back to the show.
Very nice, but must-do single and P90s. Ooh, this proves nothing at all. Handbuckers are sight. Anyways, metal isn't the only thing you know. Do you metal only, but science, the guitar is very flexy. It has many uses with guitar. No, everyone plays metal only, man. Also, you didn't specify the wood. Maybe reason all sound the same is wood.
Some comments just write themselves. Dude, I think you're a little upset about my pickup swap video, but hey, the evidence is the evidence. If you don't like it, get better evidence.
I was recently involved in an argument with a group of people about whether or not the headstock shape will change an electric guitar's tone. Some of these people were talking about the guitars like the Lady of the Lake chucked it at them to rule a unified England with. Lots of Gibson owners on that end of the argument.
The headstock. Oh, for fuck's sakes. Oh, guitar players truly are a hopeless bunch, aren't they? You know, this is the thing. When I started out the show, I was complaining mostly about the bass players being idiots. And as I go further and further and dive further into the subject of recording guitar, I'm learning maybe the bass players aren't really the dumb person in the band after all.
This IR sounds better than anything I have. Thank you.
Dude, you're very welcome. I hope you enjoy it. And if you guys are wondering what the hell I'm talking about, there's a free impulse response I did of my new vintage 30s, the ones that are made in China that Celestion just knocked out of the park. Links in the description below. It is absolutely free. It's my gift to you. I gave it away on Christmas Day. It's just my way of saying thanks for subscribing to the show and being generally awesome people. Even the people are still convinced that somehow pickups and wood have something to do with the guitar's tone, and it's way more important than a speaker. Yes, even you.
What about cheap China mass production versus handmade in America? Pretty significant change, don't you think?
Correct me if I'm wrong, they invented mass production in America, right? Oh yeah, some guy named Henry Ford came up with that idea. Local luthiers, fine. Big corporations making guitars, definitely not handmade. Nice try. Oh yeah, and thanks to CNC manufacturing, mass-produced guitars can be nothing short of absolutely brilliant these days. So it is truly a great time to live because the quality guitars we are getting are truly spectacular.
Thanks for the comparison. So there's no point in changing my Roswells on my Harley Benton single cut customs or the HBZs on my HP SC1000 to EMGs or Duncans. You're going to make me save a lot of money I don't have. Thanks again. Happy New Year and cheers from Spain.
Well, we did that 10 guitar swap there, and the one guitar that was a little muddier than the other was actually the Harley Benton failure guitar with the HBZs. It's nothing a little parametric EQ pedal couldn't cure, that's for sure. And that's the thing. Pickups have resonant peaks, and they're all about 2-3 dBs. And all of those resonant peaks can be countered with just a simple EQ pedal. If you want a little bit of a boost, like a certain type of pickup, yes, add that with a parametric EQ pedal. One pedal to rule them all. And yes, it's far cheaper than buying new pickups for all your different guitars. As for the rest of them, yeah, stick with the pickups you have. They're absolutely fine. If you don't believe me, check out that 10 guitar swap challenge I did. And the differences are about that big between all 10 guitars. Pretty amazing stuff, actually, especially when you start putting gain on your tone.
I was wondering, what's the heaviest pickup for any type of metal? Would they be Super Duncans, EMGs, P90s, or P100s? Please respond back to my message on this.
The heaviest pickups are whatever the fuck you got in your guitar right now. Just put new strings on and try turning up your gain.
Honestly, though, I'm just not a fan of the way Schecters look. Kind of gaudy. Especially that 10 years ago with all that abalone. This one isn't that bad. How are the headstock? I just can't. I'm certainly not a fan, to each their own.
Oh my god, the headstock. Yeah, it's just, I just can't either. I can't even. Somebody get me to a safe space. Dude, seriously, you're worried about the aesthetics of a headstock? Like, look at your icon there, pal. Really? This is what you're worried about? Have you looked into a mirror lately?
Glenn, I saw the Mark Holcomb signature pickups in a shootout video, and they did sound a little bit more tight and genty. I have the JB and the Dimbucker from SD, and they sound different from the stock Jackson pickups in my JS32RR. But then I have a Jackson tune to drop A, and the Jackson does very well in lower tunings. Contrary to popular opinion, I don't know, is it possible to EQ pickups?
Okay, kind of rambling on that one. Number one, yes, it is possible to EQ a pickup. Once again, parametric EQ pedal will do the exact same thing. Here's the thing. I always love when people do guitar shootouts. Oh, look, you know, this guitar sounds different from this, even with gain. And it's like, yeah, do you have the exact same kind of strings on? That, believe it or not, actually has a huge effect on sound. I learned that the hard way when we shot out regular strings versus those Maxima Golds, because the Maxima Golds sounded like absolute shit. They really did. I was kind of shocked, actually. Again, this is about being wrong. I thought they'd sound the same. They didn't. And again, learned something really important there. So maybe that's where people are hearing big differences in pickups is actually the type of strings that they're using. That's something I'm still gonna have to put the testing. I have to shoot out some varying brands of strings and different types, like stainless steel versus nickel plated, the cryogenic ones, all that kind of shit to hear just how much of a difference that is, because I think that's gonna be very interesting. But when we did the test, from guitar to guitar to guitar, once they're all tuned the same, the differences were about that big from guitar to guitar. And that's in a blind test. Nobody could figure out which guitar was what in the blind test. They're all like, yeah, this all sounds pretty fucking similar. So there you go.
I was pretty confused by this video. I have two guitars that are really different: construction, pickups, number of strings, length, size, etc. And when I tried the same VST preset, to me the tone difference was night and day. Today I realized what's different in between instruments is pickups, output, and noise. I think now I understand a little bit more by guitar tones, but as a musician, I can see why most people, even audio engineers, pickups play a bigger role in the tone change.
Yeah, there's really not that big of a difference. And you're saying you got a night and day difference. Again, I'd say make sure they're tuned the same and using the same strings, and then go do your test one more time. I think you'll be shocked by just how little things change.
I was expecting this rage coming from the pickup believers. The industry wants us to believe there's some secret sauce in pickups, especially the boutique pickup makers. The pickup is the least affecting part of your sound and a very simple component. I've wound my pickups for some time. I can make a 100% copy of, let's say, an SD SH4 for the price of 20 USD. We all know how much an SD pickup costs. So there is a huge profit in the industry is making it specifically for the boutique makers like Lawler, Frolin, etc. And they want us to believe that secret sauce is to keep the wheels spinning. Nice work, Glenn.
Hey, my only motivation here is to help inform you guys so you can make the right choices when you walk into a guitar store or you're shopping online, something like that, and you don't get caught up with, ooh, shiny, and then start reading all these insane claims that aren't actually backed up by any kind of evidence whatsoever. Remember, folks, shop smart, shop S-smart.
Hey Glenn, you want to invest in one of those solderless guitar wiring harnesses by Obsidian Wire if you're going to do a second pickup swap test. Of course, then you'll get complaints about tone solder.
Well, according to an earlier commenter, we're also going to get complaints about tone headstocks as well. I think Rip Torn was right about, it's like watching a bunch of, trying to hump a doorknob. Fucking guitar players.
Hey Glenn, I appreciate you clarifying because pickups is a complicated topic. I can understand that for your own sound, pickups are probably a waste of money because metal pickups are pretty basic in the sense that they just need enough output and clarity, like you said, not too much noise and not microphonic. To be honest, I recommend most metal guys just buy a set of DiMarzios or Duncans because they're better priced and I can't improve on the tone much if at all. I do custom colors, 7/8 strings, fan frets, etc. But as far as tone goes, I'm not making any claims. Vintage pickups are a completely different story, however. Few whiners know how to make them properly with the right parts put together in the right way, etc. It's taken me years of research to make my PAFs and I'm very proud of them. I think they're as good as anything out there. Gibson pickups suck, and I'm reaping all the benefits. Never stop bashing Gibson, Glenn. They really are terrible, but I love their guitars, especially they're made by Japanese companies, especially the lawsuit era stuff.
Yeah, that's the thing. I remember, restoring a 60s Fender one time and plugging it in. I'm like, where's the rest of the sound? It's like, if you're into that whole vintage pickup thing, okay, great. Chances are you're not putting any gain on your amp anyway. And if you are, it's probably just, back end gain of just overdriving the amp by cranking it too loud. Something you'd get with a Fender Pro or something like that. We did that experiment with my buddy's father's 58 Fender Pro. Great amp, but you definitely gotta work it to get it to crank out. My 68 Trainer, same thing. It was the cleanest thing in the world until you cranked it up, and it was just like it'd get to mind-melting, volume levels before you get any kind of distortion at all. Very painful amp to work with. And if you're into that kind of thing, that's fine, but I'm not interested in that kind of thing. I want carcass tone. I want In Flames. I don't want Buddy Holly. Or the Monkees for that matter. So there we go, two different things. And Murray, I do appreciate you writing that. I know you've been watching the show for quite a bit as of late, and I do appreciate you conceding that point, that we are after very different things. And I have no doubt that your PAFs are great. But seriously, if somebody hands me a guitar with PAFs and I'm like, yeah, okay, can we take the training wheels off and get a real guitar, please? All right, that's it for this episode. Hope you guys are having an amazing time out there. Hope you're having an amazing February and whatnot. Once again, grab that free impulse response if you haven't already. And thanks for watching, your support, and all that kind of stuff. And I'll see you guys back here on Tuesday once again. Take it easy.